my role here has been first in the preliminary reconnaissance to lead our teams that were gathering information that would help us determine whether we would recommend a full technical investigation under our NCST authorities. And secondary, after the NIST director established an NCST team to lead the efforts to collect and preserve evidence that would be necessary to complete a full technical investigation moving forward. Once we established an investigation, how we were going to weave our efforts and allow the search and rescue to be the primary effort, but weave in our efforts in between there so that we were still playing a role using our expert knowledge to help them, folks that were part of that rescue effort, understand not to throw away evidence and instead separate really key components of that structure that would allow us to later reconstruct, where these pieces came from, give us NIST an understanding of the building construction process and how that compares to how the structure was designed. We're trying to understand how this building failed. We would like to reconstruct this failure, and in order to do that, we need as much information as possible. So one aspect is this physical evidence, right? So as much physical evidence of the original building as possible, and being here early on and throughout. We've never left here. We've never not provided 24/7 engineering expertise to the incident to ensure that we were capturing the importance of preserving that evidence and making sure that it was protected. These key elements, of the structure, they all tell a story. They might all tell a really tiny story, but they all tell an important story. And we needed to really be the stewards of protecting all of those stories. And whether that meant that we were educating people that were on the site, so each of the urban search and rescue teams that are deployed, they all have engineers on their staff, right, in their teams. And so once we could have this engineer-to-engineer conversation and explain how important it was for the investigation to be able to retain these pieces, and not just retain them, but understand where they were at the time of collapse so that we can then stitch together a story later on, is really critical. And ensuring that we have those components that are telling us that story is really critical. And so a lot of the efforts that are going to happen, I would say next, which is inspecting all of these specimens that we've been able to collect and tag and include in the evidence log, is looking at them up close from a structural engineering perspective and from a material science perspective. Those two are very key next.
Butt down on me about 30. cutting it when that's something that we need to.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That parking is just
Okay.
it may be days before they get to it.
Right. In a way, we can have somebody like a TMD on that.
When they find potential evidence that could be helpful for us, they're placing that directly over here. We're working with Florida Department of Transportation and the Miami-Dade Police Department to get that preserved out of the elements to an evidence collection facility that we're going to be able to gather a lot of this information later to help serve our findings, help us determine what we see as the probable collapse mechanism